guys, today we're covering a very big topic, which is chronic fatigue. Now, fatigue these days is hugely common, and the idea of chronic fatigue, or CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome, adrenal fatigue, it's a very, very broad way of looking at tiredness and lethargy and lack of energy. And most people don't actually have chronic fatigue. If you have chronic fatigue syndrome, you actually have to have shown very, very solid symptoms for at least 6 months or longer. And a lot of people are in, say, stage 1 of a general adaptive stress. If you look at the work that I've started looking into fairly recently of Dr. He dispels the idea of adrenal fatigue altogether. And adrenal fatigue traditionally is looked at as stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3. And a lot of people in today's world are actually in stage 1. Stage 3 being the type where you're actually in an extended chronic fatigue state. But he argues that there's a better way to look at it, which is the GAS, which is general adaptive stress, and he lists stage 1, 2 and 3 of that, which actually gives a much more holistic view of the condition where most people just find that they're tired, they have flu-like symptoms, they don't have the same zest for life that they would normally have. So today we're looking at a big question is, do we just sit and rest? Do we exercise? And a lot of the times when people have got into this state, and I'm not talking just from knowledge here, I'm actually talking a lot from experience, is that if you've been an athlete or you're the type that's really driven, you've overworked, you've overtrained or something, you can end up in this sort of state, which can lead to a whole host of things that you don't want, such as you leave yourself open for viral infections, candida overgrowth, a number of undesirable effects that come as a result of having an underactive thyroid. Your adrenals are insufficient, your body's not handling stress well, and it's in an overstressed state. So today we're looking at how we can overcome that and build the body up to be stronger by using exercise, and we're going to introduce you to isotonic training. So if we look at a very traditional, ancient way of looking at ourselves as a whole is the yin-yang. And in a perfect body, yin and yang is in perfect balance. What a lot of us experience in today's world, men and women, is either a yin deficiency, and yin being that of softness, of just Google yin and yang and the qualities of yin and yang. Yang is very outgoing, it's going out, getting things, achieving, giving. Yin is very soft, it's receiving, it's withdrawing, you can look at a number of different things in nature. Sun is yang, moon is yin, day, night, we've got summer, winter, things like that. And they correlate to the yin-yang principle. Now, when somebody is overstressed and overtrained, they generally have a yang excess or they have a yin deficiency. It might sound like the same thing, but they come from two very different places. So it's important to note whether you have an excess of yang, or the masculine, or you have an insufficiency of yin and the feminine. And surprisingly enough, in this day and age, women when they're suffering from this, it can be a masculine or a yang excess, because there's a lot of gender confusion in this day and age where women feel that they have to go out and do everything that a man can do, and men are very confused. Here's another video that I'll go into, but just to be aware, if you're a woman, it doesn't necessarily just mean that you have a yin deficiency, it could be a yang excess. Now, if we look at stress, and I've drawn a stress basket here. Now, stress could be coming from your food, you could be not eating right. Stress could be from the environment. You might live in an area that has a lot of electromagnetic radiation, or very, very poor air and water. Exercise. Now, exercise obviously is great, but a lot of people in this day and age, we overdo it. And unless you're an Olympic level athlete, you don't need to be training 2 or 3 times a day. And even if you are, you need to recover right. And overtraining can also be looked at as under-recovering. Same as what I just said before. I mean, you think it's the same thing, but it comes from 2 very different places. And it's actually quite hard to overtrain. It's more likely that you're under-recovering from your training. So exercise is a stress. You can have mental stress and emotional stress. Could be from your work, you hate your job. Could be from a spouse, your friends, your kids, your parents. People are stressing you out. Now, this stress basket here is, it doesn't discriminate between what stress is. So whether it's food, exercise, mental, emotional, whatever, it just recognizes stress as stress. It doesn't discriminate. Now the important thing here to notice is that stress just builds up no matter what. So if you've got a lot of stress coming in from a lot of different areas, this stress base is going to fill up a whole lot quicker. And unless you lack a plug hole at the bottom, which is your way of releasing the stress, this is just going to build up to the point where you're going to be host to a range of diseases and ailments and things in life that you just don't want. So what we need to do is manage the amount of stress going in and really try to find a way to have the stress coming out, which stress release will be another video altogether. The important thing here to concentrate on today is the exercise. And for the same reason that when I have, say, an obese client that really needs to lose some weight, this will be another video which will come out soon, but the very last thing that I'll ever get them to do is an intense exercise regime. They already have a system that is so toxic and overstressed. Why would I get them to exercise until they're blue in the face and panting and sweating their ass off, when that's just going to dump a whole lot more stress into this already overstressed system? It just doesn't work like that. What I'm going to introduce you today is what's called isotonic training. I've already done a video on working in versus working out. I recommend you have a look at that to understand the principle of working in. But while meditation, for example, or Tai Chi, it's great because it's movement, you can still train the muscles and the endocrine system, which is a hormonal system, in a way that's going to give you the beneficial releases of growth hormone, testosterone, women need that as well, and everything that you get and you gain from the pumping mechanisms from actual, what you would call lifting or good exercise, and combining it with the working in to actually rebuild and build energy. Now the important thing about isotonic training is that we're using a much lower load and we're using a lower volume, so it's a lower rep range, but we're still doing enough that we're actually giving ourselves or facilitating the right sort of hormonal response that we want to get from training. But what we're not doing is to the point where it's going to add too much stress to this system. And when we have chronic fatigue or anything to do with general adaptive stress, adrenal fatigue, however you want to look at it, we want to stop adding stress to that basket. But we don't want to just sit and lay on a couch. A lot of people, they'll do that. They get to that stage and they think, well, that's it, I'm out. I'll just sit and watch movies for a few weeks straight or whatever. It doesn't quite work like that. We still need to obey nature's laws, and we still want the body to move. The body is really designed to move, and if we exercise it the right way rather than just sit on our butts, we're going to get through this stage of our lives a lot more quickly and a lot more healthily. So we're going to head out to the garden gym, and I'm going to show you how to incorporate isotonic training with working in. We'll probably use the squat as an example, and I'll show you how to do a round of, generally you do say 5 sets, it's probably going to be a half an hour workout, and I'll show you how to structure that.